What's the worst heartbreak you've ever experienced? I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. My ex ghosted me when I had surgery to remove the mass and my dog died a week after I got home from the hospital. I now have my health, amazing friends and family, and a rescued dog who can always bring a smile to my face. Had a similar experience, but minus the cancer. My IUD punctured my uterus and releases hormones into my body. I ended up having to have 25% of my uterus removed. I found out she was cheating on me a week later because she had hickeys on her neck that she claimed was from her shell necklace. I still roll my eyes at that. She then told me she hoped I would die on the surgery table. It's something that haunts my thoughts every time I go in for surgery. I now have a rescued pup who is my soulmate. Even was born on my birthday. Married my high school sweetheart. After we had been married 6 years together for 8, she left me for someone else. We ended up working through it and got back together for 2 more years. We had been going to counseling. Things seemed to be improving and our relationship seemed stronger than ever. I came home from work the day before what was supposed to be our last counseling appointment. She was gone. No letter, no call, no text. After I called her multiple times, all I got was a text. I'm not coming home. I don't love you. I'm going back to him. Not that exactly, but that was the point of the text. I destroyed a door. Just punched and kicked it until it was just splinters. My arms were scratched up, my knuckles bloody, and I just collapsed. At some point I called my friend. Him and his wife came to get me. He just laid in the floor next to me as I couldn't stop sobbing. He is a firefighter and an EMT. He bandaged me up, helped me pack, and they moved me into their spare bedroom. I kept going to counseling. Still am. Still working on getting over it. On getting better. Every day seems a little brighter. Still have dark days. The last few weeks have been hard. No reason really. I question everything. I question every connection I have with the people in my life. I doubt myself. But I'm getting better. I moved. Have a new job. I'm losing weight and eating better. Life is hard, but I know it can only get better if I'll let it. I'll never forget the way I felt that day and the kindness 2 people showed me. Now ex-husband left me for my now ex-best friend. We had been together for 12 years, married for 9. He didn't serially cheat. His honesty and integrity were things I deeply loved about him. It devastated me. I felt like my entire world changed overnight, as well as my ability to trust myself to judge people. I got through it with the help of friends, 5 ladies in particular, an excellent therapist, and my mother. I'm a very resilient person, which helped a lot as well. There were a couple of books in particular that I found very useful, despite my anger each time I picked them up. Namely, The Journey from Abandonment to Healing, Susan Anderson, and How Can I Forgive? Janice Spring. Talking with trusted people, journaling, being as open as I could be with others, and allowing people to support me. Through that, I learned that, while I often saw myself as Joe Smith's wife, the opposite seemed to be true. So many people told me they liked my ex-husband well enough, but I was the reason they wanted to spend time with us. It really shifted my self-perception in a positive way. Through the whole process, I realized the value of trying to be a good person and trying to be the best version of myself at any given time, when all I had to fall back on was my character and how well I had developed and maintained my relationships. I had so much support and strength to get through the most traumatic experiences of my life. My best friend of 4 years ghosted me. No reason given. I had gotten her a job at the bar I worked at for 2 years. She already worked full-time at the hospital, billing and such. About 2 weeks after she started, I woke up one day to find I was blocked on everything. A week later, my boss came up to me and told me I was no longer working Saturdays. I guess my former friend was refusing to work the same shifts as me, and my boss liked her more. I couldn't afford the financial hit, so I was basically forced to resign. To this day, I'm not sure why she did what she did. Our kids were best friends and couldn't understand why they couldn't see each other anymore. Her family was apologetic, This wasn't the first time she's done this to someone. It all happened about 2.5 years ago, and to this day it still hurts a bit to think about. Why wasn't I good enough? What happened? Was I a bad friend? My 30s, I reconnected with my high school sweetheart. We were in a wonderful relationship. One day, I decided to buy him a motorcycle. A week later he was killed on that motorcycle. I will never forgive myself for buying that damn thing. He was his mother's only child, and my decision to buy the motorcycle took him away from her, and I lost a true love. I had to move to Dallas from California for work, and my 10-year-old son decided to stay with his dad because he didn't want to leave his best friend whom he's known since he was 3. And I knew that was what was best for him, so I didn't fight for him to come with me. The heartache rears its head every month when I put him on the plane back to California, and every time I get the look when someone finds out I'm a non-custodial parent. I fell in love with an undiagnosed guy with borderline personality disorder and lots of addictions. He could literally make me feel like the most amazing person in the world and completely tear me down a few hours later. He drove me crazy, and every time I successfully distanced myself from him, he managed to pull me back in. He still drops into my life. Well, my messages, every 6 months or so. I only managed to cut him loose because I met my boyfriend and he's just amazing. I've been with him for 3 years now, but my ex is still making sure I think of him. To be fair, even if he didn't reach out to me, I would never be able to forget him. Not because I still love him, but I'm still resentful. No, it seems silly, but when my cat died last year, I felt my heart actually ache. Grief is terrible. To get through it, you just gotta brace up for the waves of pain and know that the show will go on. You will find new relationships, explore new places, make new friends, and love new people and animals. No person or animal is a good replacement for losing someone you love, but you'll find that your heart is big enough to love many new things too. My last ex called me over one day to tell me that she had cheated on me and that she was leaving me. I forgave her and thought it hadn't affected me at all until I entered my current relationship and almost immediately started worrying that I was going to get left again. Only then did I begin to process the damage that had been done by my ex. Now that I look back, the signs were all there that I was hurting, but for 2 years I ignored it all and lied to myself. What scares me the most is how I had convinced myself so well that I was fine. Breaking up with my then boyfriend because I noticed I really fell in love for him while he was just kinda into having a girlfriend, I guess, was horrible. Cried for a week and just stayed at a friend's house to really just cry and hope every day it would feel better. Listened to audiobooks during that time to keep sane. Then when it got slightly bearable, I signed up for a lot of things I really wanted to do, but never had found the energy to do all the time. So basically applied for my dream job, surprisingly got it, while still studying, doing more classes than average. Actually just finished with the average, but tried for a long time, and kept me super busy, and signing up for a marathon. Although an injury in the end also made me not able to run that, I got to a super high mileage and more importantly, got through the winter without becoming depressed. Next to that, I was honest with all my friends about how much I was hurting, and that I really needed them, although I could give little back in return during that time. I think that made it a lot easier for them, because they knew what to expect, and that I wasn't turning selfish, but simply needed them during that time. I also visited all of my friends and cousins who live somewhere else, and stayed with my auntie for a while who has a lot of pets, dogs, and cats, to just cuddle with them all day. All of these things kept me functioning until months later it started to hurt less and less. We had fought a lot about my dream to learn Spanish in a Latin American country, and so 1 year after we broke up I actually did that. All in all, got over it, although that may have been the saddest week of my life. I called off my relationship of 3 years and subsequent engagement because I found out he was lying and cheating. The worst part is I still miss him. Daughter died 29 hours after she was born in June. Therapy has helped, as has being able to lean on my husband and family. Keeping busy with work and hobbies has also helped. Things are still rough, but we are getting through it. Ex-husband and I had been together for 4 years, married a little under 1. We were best friends and did absolutely everything together. One day I woke up and realized we were no longer romantic or in love, just really good friends who loved each other. We talked about it and tried to work on it. It never came back. We both had grown into great people, just not a match for each other anymore. We amicably split and got a divorce. It was so hard. I want to call him all the time. He was the person I called or text when I saw something funny. He was my only real friend. But it was too easy to fall back into comfort, so we cut each other off and are trying to live our lives. I have an amazing partner now, but it still really hurts. I guess time heals all. Share your story in comments and subscribe.